This is Rock Hard Riffs. Well, hey there guys. This is Rock Hard Riffs, the rock and roll guitar channel for the self-taught. This is the first video we're making in 2023. We'd like to say Happy New Year to everybody. We'd like to thank all of our new subscribers. We really appreciate that. If you happen to be new to our channel and have not yet subscribed, take a peek in our playlists. There's all kinds of stuff there from the very beginner on up, all ages, you name it. Take a look in there. If you like what we do, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. So guys, I got a lot of information. I'm going to try to keep it as short as I can in this video. We're talking about primarily the nut in this guitar and my 335 here, and also that I had in my son's Les Paul, which is not here at the moment. So we're going to talk about these two guitars and the nut situation. If you're familiar with the prior videos, my gosh, wow, we've just gone through nut after nut after nut situation, just kind of experimenting and goofing around. And it all started off because I wanted to put like a Bigsby type bar on my 335. Right? So we have the DUESENBERG Les TREM on here. If you're familiar, we've made videos about this thing. And, you know, anybody I talked to at that time, before I put that bar on, they're all saying it won't stay in tune, won't keep tune at all. And several guitar luthiers, etc., people said, you know, it's just not going to stay in tune. So I'm like, man, that kind of sucks, because I'd really like to have like a Bigsby type of bar on this 335. And so I did a bunch of research and stuff, and I ran across the NUTBUSTER. Okay, this little device right here. Let me show you a close-up of one. So here it is, guys, the Guitar NUTBUSTER. And this is like a locking device. It's not a locking nut, but it's a locking device that goes right behind your nut, and it keeps it tuned in. And these are all fine tuners right there on the top. This thing works great, works fantastic. Now also, I had put one of these on my son's Les Paul after I had gotten the FLOYD FRX bridge, which also happens to have its own locking nut. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I put this on there just to see how it would work. And somebody said in the comments, well, why don't you use just a plain FLOYD locking nut instead of this thing? Because it's a lot less expensive, and et cetera, et cetera. I thought, well, you know, that's worth a try. So I got one. And I put it on there. I thought, well, let's experiment with this and see how it works. Because the FLOYD FRX bridge, it has its own fine tuners, right? So you don't need fine tuners at the nut. So I tried this, and it kind of worked and kind of didn't work. I put this first behind the brass nut that came on that black Les Paul that you're looking at. This is the brass nut. We're going to talk more about this in a second. I put this behind it just like you would the Guitar NUTBUSTER, and it didn't work really all that well. I thought, you know, the first tuning, oh, hey, you know, I got it to stay in tune. But the next time I needed to tune it, it just was a disaster. And it kept breaking the E string too. So that didn't work so well. So I used the FRX nut on that guitar, which I'm going to show you in just a second, and that works perfectly fine. So here we have the FLOYD FRX locking nut. And this goes, again, just behind the nut of the guitar. So it doesn't replace the nut, it just goes behind it. So it's more like a locking device, kind of like the NUTBUSTER. It's not an actual locking nut. But that's it, and it works fantastically. And you can access the truss rod right through this, or just a couple little screws that hold that on. But it works just like it's supposed to, and it's made to go with, of course, the FLOYD FRX bridge. And that thing is, you know, it's big, it's bulky, it's heavy, but it's pretty cool. You don't have to drill anything into your guitar, not one screw hole at all did we have to put anything in to put in this bridge. So that was pretty cool, and it, in my opinion, you know, for what it's worth, it works pretty darn well. You save a lot of money. Even though it's a little costly, you save a lot of money of having to route out a guitar. Now, going back to the nut situation, with that Les Paul you're looking at, this is the brass nut that came with that guitar. And I was having some work done on it at Sam Ash. That's where I bought the guitar. I've loved those guys there. They are fantastic. They have helped me in every way possible that I've asked them, and then some. They're just fantastic people there. Can't recommend them enough. And that's in like the Phoenix, Glendale area in Arizona. So anyway, he was saying to me, you know, this thing can kind of tend to be a tone sucker, this brass nut. And I thought, really, brass? I thought it would make it brighter. But now that you think about it, brass is kind of soft, kind of like gold. And I'll bet that that would be a major tone sucker itself. You want something hard, like, you know, steel, right? So he pulled this off, and what we were just looking at before, he carved a bone nut for that guitar, which is really cool. I really, really appreciated that. And he cut it perfectly. The action on this thing just could not be better. This guitar is just, this is it. I've got it dialed in. No more stuff need to do with it. No more experimenting. So there you have it, guys. The saga of my nuts. Anyway. Hey, one more thing before we go, guys. I wanted just to let you know, again, remind you that I'm not going to be coming out with a video every week anymore. So make sure you click the notifications bell. You know, the little bell that's there, just click on that and it'll let you know when we do release videos. Now the plan is to be like once a month or so for right now. I'm working on an album, RHR 4, and I'm still having procedures done on my back. If you're not familiar with that, I have a really, really bad back all the way through the top to the bottom. I'm having stuff done to it, and when I do have procedures done to it, I'm kind of out for about a week. After that, I'm not able to do anything. So that on top of trying to make an album and trying to make videos, etc., etc. Look for us about once a month. And again, make sure you click that bell. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us. All right. Okay. So again, this is Rock Hard Riffs. Again, we really appreciate all you new subscribers. Please leave a comment and let us know what you think. And Happy New Year, and we'll see you next video.